White Bear Lake appoints a new chief. We'll talk with her about her plans for the police department in this half hour.
Nearly 2,000 people took the plunge during frigid conditions. We'll bring you the chilling details.
I'm Ron Hawkins.
And I'm Tracy Minarchuk. It's been a frigid winter.
But that didn't stop a whole bunch of people from taking an icy plunge.
We're going to have almost 2,000 people jumping into the freezing cold waters, so we're preparing today to get everything ready.
We were cutting a hole for the polar plunge for the Special Olympics and that there. And these guys contracted us to come down because we know how to cut ice and come down and cut them a hole.
What's kind of funny about it is it takes us about 3 days to set up for a plunge like this, and it takes us about 4 hours to tear it down, you know. So it's kind of interesting in that respect. But we do it because we do it for the right reason. It's for the athletes of Special Olympics Minnesota.
The law enforcement has always been a great supporter of Special Olympics. It's a great thing, a community event. It's fun. People are upbeat. It's just it's a great experience. Way too cold though.
It's cold. It's cold. This is the worst part, is walking to the bus. And the water's fine.
It was a goal of ours this year to go completely under the water, as to kind of half jumping in there, and we did that. And jumping in, I don't know if they'll disagree, I don't think is as bad as just the steps up the ladder is when it really, really hits you. And we felt like the kid in Christmas Story grabbing the pole with your hand to get out. Now if we weren't on the fire department, we would have called the fire department to get us unstuck. So yeah.
Then you're standing on the platform and it's like, well, you can't back out now. But yeah, jumping in the water, you come out, and this year I was definitely doing one of the
Well, we're braving it with hats and mittens and snowsuits on. They're braving it in the water with swimsuits, so I'm not feeling too bad for us.
And I just see these crazy people jumping into the water, so this is so cool.
This is our first polar plunge, so we're polar virgins!
This particular cause, I suffer, but I think it's worth it. I think Special Olympics is just a great program.
After 30 years of fire service, Paul Peltier is retiring. He spent his career with the White Bear Lake Fire Department, and he's been featured on the show throughout the years.
Firefighting is in the Peltier family blood. His father, brother, and nephew all served or currently serve the White Bear Lake Fire Department.
We're going to take a break, but when we come back,
We'll talk with the new chief of police.
she's been with the White Bear Lake Police Department for 13 years, working as a patrol officer, sergeant, and most recently captain.
And now she's the new chief of police. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you.
So, let's hear about it. You've been promoted to the police chief. I think that's great.
Thank you.
And you've only been here for 13 years, but you started your career before that, and you've been in law enforcement for longer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay. I started in crime prevention, which is a civilian position with the city of St. Paul back in the early 90s. Right out of college, I had gone to school to be a social worker and decided I really didn't want to be a social worker. So I got a job with the District 5 Planning Council, which is a nonprofit community council within St. Paul. After that, I worked there for a few years, but it was grant funded, and I was able to move to the Fridley Police Department and do the same thing, organizing neighborhood crime watch and block watches for the Fridley Police Department. And while there, I decided to go back to school to become a licensed police officer. So I finished school there to get a law enforcement degree, and then landed a job with the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department as a sheriff's deputy. And I worked primarily in the jail there. And while I was there, it was a great job, but you spent a lot of time in the jail, usually 9 years in the jail before going out onto patrol. So I was kind of keeping my eyes open. I lived in the White Bear Lake community, and White Bear Lake was hiring back in 2000, and applied here to see a little bit more about the department and see if it was an interest, and was fortunate enough to get a job here.
So you grew up in the White Bear Lake area?
I did.
I want to ask, did your parents ever just say, Julie, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about being a police officer?
Yep, I think they did. My mom, for a long time, would write in her Christmas cards that I was a DARE officer, and for Tracy, who's a DARE officer, she knows that's like 18 hours a year, and it doesn't constitute the other 2,000 hours that you work. So she did a ride-along when I was a sergeant, so back in about 07 or 08, she did a ride-along and kind of opened her eyes to what our job really was.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So she hadn't been on a ride-along with you as a police officer?
Nope, she never had. I worked in the schools for a couple of years and did the DARE, and I must have sheltered her a little bit from what we were really doing. So she got an eye-opener. We had a stolen car that night and had to take somebody to jail, and it was not somebody who was happy about going to jail. So that was an eye-opener, and she didn't come back.
Oh, no.
So I want to ask you, at what point in your career, or I guess maybe what I want to ask is, have you always kind of wanted to be chief of police, or has that been kind of in your sights all along?
Nope, it was not in my sights at all. When I worked in the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department, I kind of set my sights on going to White Bear. And then when I started at White Bear, the first thing I thought is I wanted to be a school resource officer. And so it seems like every time I started a job, I kind of set sights differently. And as a school resource officer, I did that for 3 years and then went back to patrol. And we had a sergeant's opening, so I tested for that. And it really wasn't until I became a captain that I thought about becoming the chief. Just partially because timing was right, and I saw what the job entailed, and there was some opportunities to take over some projects that made our jobs easier as police officers. So that's really what piqued my interest, was the ability to make decisions that made our jobs easier or more fun or more interesting to advance the department and be part of those decisions.
So at that point, as a captain, and you're thinking, this might be something I want to do, chief of police. Was there anything that, you look at your resume, and were there things that were missing from that you needed to get in order to be eligible to apply, do you think? Or?
Yeah, when I was a sergeant, I knew that if I wanted to become a captain, I had to get my master's degree. And part of that was because my previous boss had marked me down on a performance evaluation for not having more education to advance myself. So the stubborn side of me went back to school and got my master's, and then when I was a captain, I knew that I would need to go to one of the leadership academies, and I was lucky to have the opportunity. I mean, it's an opportunity that the department gave me, and I went to the FBI Academy in Virginia for 10 weeks, and that was tough. It was hard being away for 10 weeks. It was really 12 weeks in the end, with having kids at home and kids at college, and being kind of the overprotective mom, thinking that the place would not be okay with me being gone, and my husband did just fine. So.
Now, it's been, I don't know when, not in recent history that we've ever promoted a chief from within, so this is kind of a unique thing, especially to have somebody that started off as an officer and move through every, position within the department. But you also have a unique either problem or opportunity in that you don't have any other command staff with you.
Right.
You need to hire some command staff because of retirements or promotions. You don't have anybody, so you're kind of starting fresh. Is there something that you're looking for as far as your command staff, or maybe all the officers when the admin's away, we say when I'm chief, I'm going to make this happen. Has there been anything like that you've said throughout your years here that you've wanted to do, and now you have the opportunity to do it?
That's a great question. We are going to be hiring right away one captain. We have 2 positions, but we have posted the position and are looking for one. And my biggest desire is for that person to be part of the cohesive group. As you guys know, we have a very cohesive department. We have a very fun department with great people, and that person's going to need to fit in. And also want to take the department to new levels. We need to advance in some things with technology, and we want to provide opportunities to the officers to be able to do some of the training or specialties that they want to do that are an interest, because you want to keep people's interest for the next 20 years. So that person will have to come in and be a fit to that, and want to give the officers and the staff some leeway to try some new ideas, because some of the best ideas we've had have come from within, and also be a fit to have fun and enjoy everybody that's there.
How about projects for the community? Are there any particular projects that are currently going on related to the community and the police that you're going to for sure continue? And is there anything new in mind?
Still kind of evaluating the new things. We do have our Citizens Police Academy coming up. It kind of runs parallel with the Citizens Fire Academy. I think that's a fun opportunity for us to engage community. They're the citizens in the community, and it's a good chance for a lot of the police officers to interact with the community in a fun environment. So that's definitely going to stay. Our National Night Out involvement, I'd like to see, we have great participation. Everybody in the department participates in that. I'm just hoping we can engage the community a little bit more so that we have more parties to go to and have more opportunity to get out into the community, and just revive our neighborhood watch groups and our community meetings with people.
Okay.
And we're running out of time, but real quick, what has been the reaction of your coworkers, of people, City Hall, your friends, family, people in the community? What kind of reaction have you gotten since you got the promotion?
Fortunately, people are excited as opposed to what it could be. But my family's very excited. My friends and coworkers are. It's been nice, kind of humbling to. I don't know that I have quite taken it all in yet, but people are excited. I think my family's probably glad that I'm done with school. I'm done going away, and I'm sort of settling down into something for a while, just because there has been a lot of changes. But they're excited. We live in the community, and the kids go to school in the community, so I think they're excited, and they are faced with it quite a bit. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you for being here and taking time out of your day. We appreciate it. You've got a lot of stuff ahead of you, so we know you're busy.
We do. Yes, thank you.
February is the month of love, but more importantly, it's a month to remind people about heart health.
1 in 3 women die of heart disease, but there's a lot you can do to prevent it. Here's a story of a young heart attack survivor who's spreading the word about heart disease.
I had a feeling there was something wrong with my heart, but I wouldn't have believed that I was actually having a heart attack.
In 2009, Jennifer Marine, then 38, on her way home from a ski trip with her parents and husband, pulled into a Wyoming truck stop after blizzard conditions caused highways to close. And that's when she says she felt extreme pressure in her chest, like elephants sitting on top of her.
I said, guys, I think something's wrong with me. my heart's pounding, I have this pressure.
As luck would have it, there was a hospital in town. The doctor did blood tests and suggested she stay overnight. Since the highways were closed, Jennifer stayed, which turned out to be a blessing. Tests revealed she'd suffered a heart attack. She was flown to a bigger hospital with a cardiac unit where doctors put 4 stents to repair a torn artery.
At first, I thought, why did this happen to me? Why do I have to have a heart attack? You know, 38, this isn't right. You know, then I'm told not to have kids after that, and you know, there seemed to be a fair amount of loss. And then one day I thought, well, why not me? I mean, these things happen to anyone. And that was a pretty cool revelation, you know, just to think, well, it's okay. I mean, life goes on.
About a month after Jennifer returned home, she woke up one morning with those overwhelming chest pains and anxiety once again. Her torn artery from the heart attack had torn even further, and another stent was administered. That's when doctors discovered she had something called SCAD, sudden coronary artery dissection. After getting a second opinion at the Mayo Clinic, doctors also diagnosed her with fibromuscular dysplasia, a condition that makes the arteries weak, thin, and bumpy, like a string of beads.
So it was really overwhelming and extremely scary, you know, because I just felt so alone and so like a landmine. I mean, I felt like my body was just gonna explode.
But Jennifer, with support from her family, went on with life and continued working. And then, just days after celebrating 1 year since her heart attack, that same torn artery tore even more, and she had a 6th stent put in.
Not only did it make me realize that all the days are precious, but I have a responsibility to do something with my life.
And so Jennifer went to work. She started a Facebook page for SCAD survivors and contacted the American Heart Association about volunteering. The organization's mission is to educate women on heart disease and risk factors.
Heart disease is a broad range term, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of things encompass heart disease. Diabetes, high cholesterol, atherosclerosis, where your arteries are clogged, peripheral arterial disease, where you have circulation problems in your legs, stroke, high blood pressure. All of these things are all part of heart disease.
Warmke says heart disease kills more women than the next 5 causes of death combined, including all forms of cancer. It's also largely preventable.
You know, we remind women that too often we put ourselves last. You know, we're taking care of our husbands, our dogs, our kids, our parents, and we're like, I'll get to myself later. I'll do exercise next week. I gotta do laundry. I gotta go grocery shopping. I gotta pick the kids up, But you won't be able to do any of those things. You won't be able to take care of your family if you're not there for them, if you don't take care of yourself.
The American Heart Association has helped save over 600,000 lives, and their Go Red campaigns have raised more than $300 million for research and education.
It's one of those things you think, oh, heart disease isn't in my family, and then when you stop and think about it, it is. It really touches you and it touches everyone in some way. There's usually somebody in your family or your friends that's been affected, or soon enough they will be.
Jennifer Marine is healthy and working on a memoir titled I Lived. And despite her difficult journey, she says she wouldn't have it any other way.
You know, I don't know if I could change the story. I don't know if I would. You know, I mean, that's the positive.
Check out the American Heart Association's website where they have a lot more information. When we come back,
We'll tell you how you can check out the White Lake Fire Department.
Maplewood police officers took an icy plunge, all in the name of charity. I'm Carrie Crotty.
And I'm Lon Bakey. Law enforcement raised money for the Special Olympics of Minnesota. We'll have the highlights plus have behind-the-scenes footage in preparing for this event.
We'll also hear from a young 2-time heart attack survivor spreading a heart-healthy message. And the cold isn't just dangerous to humans. We'll tell you how to protect your pets.
That's all coming up on Your Police Report.
if you've ever wanted to learn more about firefighting or the White Bear Lake Fire Department, now is your chance.
Assistant Fire Chief Joel Hewitt is here to tell us more about the Citizens Fire Academy.
welcome to the show, Joel.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
And congratulations on your new promotion. You just got promoted.
About a week ago, we were promoted to one of the 4 assistant fire chiefs, so it's a very privileged position, and I'm honored and humbled to be part of the leadership team. So thank you.
Very good. Well, we're going to be talking about the Citizens Fire Academy. So can you give us just maybe a overview of what the Citizens Fire Academy is all about?
The Citizens Fire Academy has been conducted by the fire department for the last few years. We're going to start on March 5th and run through May 14th. Every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And what they'll find is they'll find an enthusiastic bunch of firefighters and people involved in not only the fire department but the EMS portion of our fire department, and teaching them what the fire department does and what services we provide to our community through the department.
So who can join the Citizens Fire Academy? Do you have to live in a particular area, or are you limiting who you're letting in?
First of all, you have to be 18 years of age, and we'd like to first look at residents of White Bear Lake, obviously. But if there are people that are close to the area or have some type of connection, either through a relative or whatever, we're certainly open to look at their application. And we're looking for about 15 folks to join us.
So the fire department has got a lot of different aspects. Special rescue, EMS, emergency medical services is a big part of our department, and firefighting. So it sounds like each week is going to be a little taste of something different. Is that kind of?
Right. We've expanded it from 10 weeks to 11 weeks to accommodate all the different aspects that we want to bring to people and present to people. So they'll be riding fire trucks. They'll be learning about what each fire truck does or each piece of apparatus does. They'll take a look at our ambulances and our EMS service. You're having one of our medical directors to come out and talk about our relationship with the hospitals and that. There'll be some lecture. There'll be a lot of hands-on. I think it's going to be a real rewarding experience for people to participate in.
So is this going to be for people that are just interested in working on the fire department, or is this for anybody? What type of person should sign up for it? Just anybody who lives here and is curious about it? Or is it going to be more technical and geared for people that want a career in the fire department?
I think it's all of that, Tracy. I think it's people that have always had an interest about what happens behind the big garage doors at the fire station, or what happens behind the scenes of an ambulance going down the road or a fire truck. We have had a couple people in the last class actually join. One person joined the EMS side of the department, one joined as a firefighter. So it's all of that, what you've described, is anybody that's curious, anybody that wants to even look at possibly pursuing a job in the fire service or EMS service. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting for folks, and I think we're going to present a very nice academy to people.
Yeah, I know in previous years we have had a very wide range of ages and people, the reason for them joining the Citizens Fire Academy, and everywhere from people that are 20 years old to people that are in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, actually. Some that have had no desire to get on the department whatsoever, but they got a lot out of the academy. Can you talk a little bit about the Citizens Fire Academy alumni?
Yeah, I never knew there was an alumni, and I guess there's several across the metro area. It's a group of folks that have gone through the academy in the past years, and they meet monthly. And they've done some projects for us to help raise money for rehab chairs, and they helped with the motorcycle ride this past year for the tribute for 9/11. We've actually had them participate in the planning of this year's academy. We asked them what worked, what didn't work, what was very interesting, what wasn't so interesting. And that's one of the reasons why we expanded it from 10 to 11 weeks.
And there's no cost. What can people do to either learn more about it or to fill out an application?
They can go to our Facebook page, which has become a White Bear Firefighter. We have some postings on there. The city's website, there's actually an application on the city's website that they can download and fill out and send in. So if you're thinking about joining us, we'd love to have you. Fill out an app, and we'll be in touch with you.
All right. Well,
Sounds
that
good.
Great.
Yeah, no risk there. There's no financial payments
No.
to be made, so
No.
they can drop out if they don't like it. Just sign up and come see what it's all about.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for being here. We
Well,
appreciate
thank you
it.
very much.
Few people would argue it's been a bitterly cold winter.
The extreme cold isn't just hard on people, but our pets too. Here's what you need to know to protect them.
Common sense really needs to rule. If you're uncomfortable being outside, there's a good chance your dog, and we're talking about dogs primarily, there's a really good chance that your dog is uncomfortable as well.
It's been a cold winter with sub-zero temperatures hitting last month and causing schools to shut down for several days. With air temperatures that low, exposed skin can become frostbitten in 5 minutes. And like humans, our pets can suffer from hypothermia and frostbite.
We definitely have seen oftentimes cats that come in that have been strays for a period of time where they've lost their ear tips. They've lost their ear tips to frostbite. It's like someone losing a fingertip to frostbite. So it definitely can happen. You know, that's a risk for an animal that's left outside too long, just like it would be for a person.
How long your pet can stay outdoors depends on their activity level and their coats. Larger dogs built for the cold can withstand longer periods outside, and for Arctic breeds or water dogs, the colder the better. If your dog is like mine and loves coming to the dog park no matter how low the temperature drops, you may have discovered he also loves to pick up and eat, something another dog has left behind.
There's definitely the potential for him to contract intestinal parasites by doing that. You know, why do dogs do that? It's an age-old problem. I think there's a combination of they unfortunately just like the flavor, and they like the taste. I always thought nature had taken care of that, but apparently not. And I think there's an aspect of play. You'll see some dogs that will grab these frozen stools and they'll toss them and play them and roll on them.
Another danger to pets is antifreeze, which contains a chemical called ethylene glycol. It has a sweet flavor that appeals to dogs and children. Make sure to clean up all spills and store the product out of reach. Even a small amount can cause kidney failure. Salt on sidewalks can irritate paws, so wash and dry them after they've been outside. And finally, pets rely on humans to care for them, so when their owners fail, it's our responsibility to help them.
It's one of those things that I think people worry about. What's it going to do to change your relations with your neighbors and things like that? And so everybody has to make individual judgments, but there certainly are such circumstances where reporting them is warranted in the best interest of the animal.
We'd like to let people know that Suburban Cable Community Channels is celebrating 30 years in operation in 2014.
And GTN is celebrating its 20th year. We'll keep you updated on events staff are planning to celebrate these milestones.
Well, thank you for joining us for this February edition of Lake Area Beat.
We'll see you next time.